Any comments from Coach Smart on the game, then we'll take your questions.
Well, first off, as always, I'd like to thank the fans for turning out. It turned out to be a warm day, a lot warmer than our scrimmages. We had, one scrimmage where we had rain, and then we had another scrimmage where it was nice and cool. That was warm. We needed that for all the other scrimmages we've had to kind of push through, find out a lot about guys, physical and mental toughness when you have heat and how you respond. And a lot of guys had to play more snaps than they're used to. But I was really pleased with the effort. I thought it was a tale of two halves. We had a first half that we lit it up on offense and didn't seem like we couldn't stop anybody defensively, and then flipped that over in the second half, couldn't score any points. So obviously we got to improve in kind of both those areas, but there's some positive things that came out of it too. Some guys played really well. I thought we did some good things on both sides of the ball. Got to continue to do that to get better. Came out relatively healthy, which was big for today. We've got some guys that have been injured coming into today, but we didn't really lose anybody today, which is big when you play tackle football. So with that, I'll open it up.
Coach, spring practice is a lot about evaluating and finding out about your team. Over the last 15 practices today, what did you learn about your football team this year?
I'm excited. I've always said, we're built to sustain here, and that's my motto. Like, we're not trying to be a one-hit wonder. We want to put a really good football team out there each year, and we're well on our way to doing that this time. We've probably got the most cohesive unit we've had in terms of the guys love being with each other. They like practicing hard. I mean, we had 14 of the 15 days, I really thought we had good practices, and that includes today. And I was really pleased with their work ethic. So, they like practicing, they like football. When people come to your practice and they've been to 7 other schools and they say, man, y'all get after it. Man, your guys practice hard. Man, your guys buy in and have fun. It makes me feel better that our kids enjoy it.
So what you got to see live, what did you make of Carson and Brock?
It's hard because I've got to go back and watch the tape, as always. I thought both of them had good composure, good pocket presence. I thought Brock used his legs several times to break out of there and take off running. Brock unfortunately had some guys that dropped the ball on him. I thought balls were really well thrown and should have been caught. And he did a nice job in the pocket of making those throws. And then Gunner did some really good things. I was really pleased with all 3 quarterbacks, and what you saw today was similar to what we've seen really all spring. We have 3 good quarterbacks who can make the throws and do a really good job. I was pleased with those guys.
Mekhi Muse and Dylan Bell made a few plays, just their performances.
Muse does that every day. Muse is a guy that last year he kept getting really close to being able to play and help us. He was on the scout team, so I had seen him make plays on the scout team, and we put him in a couple games, as the returner. He very sure-handed, makes good decisions. You saw today he's got some return ability, exciting, and you get what you get from Muse every day. Like, the guy is a worker, and I thought he made some plays today with his feet, and he caught a couple of really tough catches. Dylan Bell does that each and every day. I mean, he was a guy that made some plays, and he got better this spring. Dylan got thrust into playing due to some injuries with AD and things, and he took the bull by the horns and really played well, and then he had a good spring for us. He was very productive this spring.
Coach, I wanted to ask about Ernest Green and Austin Blaski, kind of both playing at left tackle. What did you think about those 2 guys today and that as that competition unfolds at that spot?
Both those guys are good football players. Excited.
Kirby, we probably won't get a chance to talk to you again anytime soon. Can you kind of give us your thoughts on how the portal windows are working out? I guess today there was some news about Bear leaving. Did you anticipate that? Where are you guys at scholarship-wise?
Yeah, that's the way of the world. It's who handles it and manages it best, and it's basically the new climate we're in. So the window will open up. All across the country there'll be guys going in and looking for greener pastures, and that's ultimately the climate that we have created. And it's more power to them. We've got a lot of guys who've benefited from the portal, and I hope we benefit from the portal. We had a couple guys out there today that came by way of the portal that made some really good plays. So it's the climate that we're in, and we'll do the best we can to capitalize on it. But I'm very pleased with what we've got on our team and our roster, and it's not a way that we're going to build a team by any means.
Saw Smile and Branson and Boots on the sideline. What's the extent of their injuries, and no Ra participating today? What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, Ronald's got some things he's got to work on, and we're working on those things. And he was with us, he was with the team today, and he did some special teams things, but didn't play on the offense side of the ball. And when you go to Smile and Branson, they're both dealing with lower extremity injuries, and the severity of that is still yet to be really determined. But both those guys were unable to go today.
Kirby, Jordan Hall and Damon Wilson seem to have some flash plays today. What's been your impressions of each of them this spring?
Got a ways to go. They're not ready, but they know that, and they're working really hard at it. And the sooner they get ready, the better we're going to be, because we need both those guys to step up and play. So they're just young. I mean, it's like it's okay to be young, and they have a ways to go, and I think they'll get there. I think both those guys will contribute and help us next season. I'm very pleased with where they are and how hard they work, but they're not there yet.
To follow up on our quarterbacks, was today pretty indicative of the way you've tried to split first team snaps, and does it mean anything that Carson had the first go the first team?
Well, it meant he's had the most practice reps. I mean, he's been in our system the longest, and those guys have shared reps really all spring. And Gunner's shared reps with the twos and the threes. And the key is they all get to develop. I can promise you there's no quarterbacks in the country getting as many reps as ours are, because we've got enough defensive linemen and offensive linemen to have 3 units, sometimes 4 units. And in fall camp, we'll have 4. And when you have 4 units, you're able to get twice as many reps. And I'm very pleased with the amount of reps. And we count reps in between days of practice. So they're getting better. And the only way you get better is to go out there and practice and get reps. And some universities can't give kids the reps we can give them because they don't have the depth.
Javon Bullard starts at safety today. Tyke Smith moves into that star spot, and both seem to make a couple of plays. What's your confidence level in the two of them in that secondary going forward?
Yeah, well, we've got a 3-way deal going at safety with David Daniel, Malachi, and Javon, and those guys rotate and play there. Hope to get Dan Jackson back there, who's played and started there at that position, and Tyke's worked there as well. Tyke and Bullard can both play star. We felt like we needed to invest reps in Bullard to create some safety depth where we're short. And every rep that Bullard wasn't taking star, that was allowing him to develop as a safety. And we need more stars. And plus we wanted to get Jonell as much nickel star work and Marcus as much nickel star work. And if we left Bullard there, it would have eaten up some of those reps. So you're just trying to develop depth on your roster, and that's really what we're doing with those guys, to try to create some safeties that can play for us.
You talked about the depth you guys have along the interior of the defensive line. Where have you seen that group and guys like Thierry and Kristen Miller grow the most this spring?
Just work, just reps. Kristen's come a long way. He's gotten better. He's really good. Zero nose, and he can stunt and move. He increased his pass rush ability some this offseason and became better. Excited about what he can do, and really excited about the group, the depth in that unit. We don't have a dominant player in that unit, but we've got really good depth, and we'll do some things with the backers around them to create havoc for people.
Coach, when you have 3 quarterback talents that are kind of uniquely talented, how do you go about instilling an offense where it kind of shines each unique talent?
Well, you do what each one does well. They all have mobility. There's not one of them that doesn't have mobility. So the first thing you do is you want to move the pocket and be creative. I think they'll all 3 be benefited by hopefully a better run game come fall, because we'll be healthier at back. We're not completely healthy at running back today, and we had to address that by how we played. But our offensive line is one of our strong suits, and with really 4 guys coming back that have played a lot of football. So we need the backs to help the quarterbacks and set up play action with a strong run game.
How concerned, is it a concern for you that just you were down pretty low on running backs today? Looking forward, you feel pretty confident about getting your depth back?
No, we have good backs. Andrew Paul had a really good fall camp. Feel really good about him coming back healthy, and it's going to be like his freshman year because he really didn't get that, so he'll be behind. Branson, whenever we're able to get him back, man, he had a great spring. He got the workload. We got two backs with a lot of experience in Dejan and Kendall, who've played and done a good job. So I'm excited about those guys. Cash has done a great job. Rod Robinson had a good day today. He's a different kind of back, but he catches the ball well out of the backfield. He's big and physical. Guys don't like tackling him. So, I mean, we have a good group of backs. I feel really confident about the group we have.
From an administrative standpoint, with new coaches, new people, different places, I guess Coach Bobo's kind of an outside focal point. How smoothly did things go? How settled does that feel with him now calling plays?
Yeah, it was easy transition. I mean, he was here last year. Everybody else was in place. He was part of it. He learned the language last year, and he's had 15 practices. And somebody told me the other day we've had 52 practices because of our walkthroughs we have. So we've had a lot of practices to get the language barrier connected, and that's been smooth. There's been the biggest transition has been the number of wideouts that didn't know the language, because you add the 2 portal guys and the 3 or 4 mid-years and like some freshmen that didn't play. So the biggest thing has been communication from that standpoint, but not really like getting calls in or offensive plays. I mean, we got plenty of plays.
Raylan had the pick six, CJ seemed to make some plays. What stood out to you about those 2 freshman linebackers this spring?
Yeah, they probably had better days than they had springs. I mean, they both showed up, and they've had some mistakes and some errors during scrimmages, and I wouldn't say they've stood out. As if today they had a couple flash plays. I thought CJ really burst and tackled some people and closed, and Raylan made the kind of play of the game there. But I mean, it was a ricochet play. It was a ball that bounced off. He was the right guy at the right time. But they're both talented, and they're both really high character kids that are going to make our program better. They push the standard the right way.
Going back to your opening comments about being pleased with spring and liking at least 14 of 15 practices, in your experience, how accurate a barometer is spring for what you're going to have coming in that regard in the next season?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't thought we had a bad spring, so maybe I'm just an optimist now. I don't know. We've had good springs, and our kids practice hard. Our coaches work hard. People in the organization work hard, and I'm very thankful that they buy in and believe in what we're doing. So I'm happy with the spring we have.
How do you feel about your cornerback position coming into spring, especially that spot opposite Kamari?
It's a work in progress. We kind of rolled guys through there today. I'd be remiss if I said somebody stood out. I didn't think anybody really stood out at that position. They'll continue to battle for it, and we got some more guys coming that'll continue to battle for it. But we've been there before. We've been going into the season where we're trying to make decisions, and there's about 25% of the hay in the barn. There's 75% of practices left to still happen. That includes our summer workouts and our fall camp workouts. So in that 75%, we got to climb the ladder and get some guys that can play winning football at that position.
Going back to Cash Jones.
Spring out of Arian.
What's that?
For Arian to get a full spring.
It's great. I hold my breath every time because I'm worried about, injury. He's really a fast guy, and at times, he has some awkward tackles and it scares you. But he had a good spring. We have to be smart about our workload and volume of work for him, because the more he does, the more he becomes injury prone, and he stretches the field in ways that other guys can't do. So we have to be smart about that.
Going back to Cash Jones, what was it like getting him to UGA out of Texas?
Dale McGee did a great job. Dale recruited him, talked to him, met him, felt like he was a good player. He could run, he was fast. He wanted to come to Georgia, which is unique, and he didn't shy away from competition. He's been in that room with some really good backs, and Cash has got better and better and better. I mean, the guy catches the ball out of the backfield really well.
You've obviously known Coach Bobo for a while and coached against him for a couple of years. Just over the last 15 weeks with him as an offensive coordinator, how have you seen him kind of morph, adapting to what you guys have ran systematically?
Well, I don't know that he's changed a lot. I mean, he has adopted some words and verbiage and terminology that wasn't his, but you got to remember, he's worked with Brian McClendon, he's worked with Stacey Searles, he's worked with Todd Hartley, he's worked with people in that room, so they can coexist and say, well, you want to call it this or do you want to call it this? It's either apples or oranges. Nobody's going to argue over what we call something. They're good football coaches, and they have good football players at their disposal. So we should be good. We should be productive. We got good football players, and we got good coaches. That combination should allow us to be a good football team.
In terms of coming back from injury, just over spring, what have you seen from Dan Jackson, also Jalen Walker and Marvin Jones, just as they're coming back from injury?
Yeah, not much. I mean, they couldn't do much. So, I mean, I saw them do a lot of ab work, a lot of ropes, a lot of sit-ups, and a lot of getting yelled at by the microphone because I'm mad they're not out there. But they haven't been able to do a lot. So, they all three take every walkthrough route. They sit in every meeting. They pay attention. They carry a script. They make calls. They coach younger players, and you know that's the culture that's created. Like, hey, man, you're not in. You better coach the next guy up, and they did that.
The previous 2 seasons, you opened with Clemson and Oregon, obviously big sense of urgency to be ready. This year's schedule doesn't appear as daunting. How do you create that same sense of urgency for the opener beginning of the season without having that marquee game to open the season?
Yeah, those games didn't create our sense of urgency. We create our sense of urgency. Like the game doesn't do it. You may put that myth out there that, hey, the Clemson or the Oregon game sets it. That's not the case. What sets it is when we put that ball down at Sanford Stadium on the scrimmages in fall camp that we're going against the best team that will play. And your standard better be right. When you go out to practice every day, if you're not ready to practice, you're playing against as good a team as you'll play. So it's not about the team we play, guys. It's about what we do. So I'm not going to allow anybody to make an excuse for the opponent we play.
It'll be a while before you guys have a traditional practice again. What kind of opportunity does this summer give to your quarterbacks to kind of grow their leadership and make this team theirs?
Yeah, they all have opportunities to throw with guys, receivers. They'll have throwing sessions. They'll have 7-on-7s. I mean, they're used to doing that. They've seen, whether it's Jake Fromm, all the way to Stetson, all the guys we've had do that. So that's the leadership quality that we hope that position possesses to drive the work ethic of the team.
Take 2 more questions.
The very first play of the game, honoring Devin and Chandler, how that come about, and what was going through your mind in that moment?
Just thinking about both of them and wishing they were with us. The players wanted to do something to remember those two, and we thought that was a good way to honor them. It was important to them to honor both of them, and that's what we did.
Coach, speaking of depth, what do you know about AGA 11, and what can you say about AGA 10's career?
Not much. I don't know. I know the name, Boom. I don't know where that came from, but I don't know how long AGA 10 was there. I should, but it's.
Been here longer than you.
I know. So like, it's an honor to be part and maybe outlast one of them. Hopefully I can be here as long as Boom. I know I need water like they do because it gets hot out there. So thank you guys.